Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, Sorry, let's start right from the beginning again. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, wherever you're listening from across the world. You are tuned into the Mr. Freemason channel, and I'm your host, Mr. Freemason. First of all, I'd like to welcome you to the show. I hope you're all doing well. First of all, we'll do a roll call, so we'll see where everybody's listening from. So if you want to drop down in the chat section where you're listening from, and we'll get set up ready for today's show. So today's show will be covering the dark side of McDonald's. We'll be going into the history of it with regards to Freemasonry and symbolism. Today is Sunday, the 21st of September, 2025, which gives us a 3-day and also a life path number of 3. So if you're new to the channel here, we like to study Freemasonry, numerology, astrology, rituals, occult, and hidden knowledge. Now, to start off, the first thing you'll find strange about today, like I've said, it's Sunday, the 21st of September. 2 and 1 gives us a 3, which is a 3-day. Take the 2 and the 1, add it to the 9, plus the 2 and the 2 and the 5 from 2025. Also gives you a number 21, which is 2 and 1 equals 3. You'll tend to find this happens quite regularly in numerology. A classic example of this was the other day when we covered the Charlie Kirk incident. It happened on a 1 day. Also, if you take that date and add it all together, it actually gives you a life path number of 1 as well. As I did state in the last previous live show, it is quite common and familiar that you will notice that the day energy also matches up to be exactly the same as the life path energy. So the numbers that always tend to come up familiar in cases and world events are the numbers 3, 6, 9, 11, 13, 19, 22, 23, and last of all, the Grandmaster number of 33. So we'll be looking at the history of Ronald McDonald, who he was, his association with the restaurant chain, and how it got to be named McDonald's. We'll also look at the link with McDonald's to KFC towards the end of the show, and take a look at with regards to the supplying of meat, should we say. It'll give you a bit of an example of where the food supply and chain comes from. If you are a big fan of McDonald's, I do apologise in the meantime. Obviously, towards the show, I will give you a heads up and a trigger warning if it's something that you don't want to particularly listen to. Obviously, there's nothing too graphic in there or gory details, but just with regards to the in-depth information of the food supply chain. That's all I can kind of say at this moment in time. So I'll give it a few more minutes and then we will jump straight into the video for today's live show. If there's anything in the meantime that anybody spots or notices or wants to bring up and drop in the chat section with regards to any numerology that they've spotted or anything they've learned with regards to numerology, astrology, then feel free to leave your comments in the chat section. And if you're lucky enough, we will chuck them up on the screen for you. So I'll give it another 10 seconds and we'll jump straight into the show. So starting with McDonald's and Ronald McDonald, we'll take a look at the history and the origins of where the restaurant started, who were the people that actually started the restaurant chain, how it got funded, and then who stepped in and took over from the brand and the chain and made it what it is today. The people that took over from McDonald's, which is in the 60s, was a pair of brothers called the Grok brothers. and the Grok brothers then introduced the character that everybody then knows as Ronald McDonald. But the actual history and the origins of Ronald McDonald and the character are quite sinister and quite dark. So the restaurant chain was started very, very early on, around 1930s, 1940s, by a pair of brothers called Richard and Maurice McDonald. Now, Richard and Maurice McDonald were descendants of the original Ronald McDonald, who was a travelling, almost like a travelling circus, so to speak, back in the day. I'm going to pause this video right here. We'll take a quick look at Ronald McDonald with regards to some of the history. So going back to Ronald McDonald and the origins, Ronald McDonald was like a traveller with a circus tent. He used to entertain children. He used to have a tent that was named the Happy Meal. And he would go town to town, and children would be welcomed into the tent, where they'd be given a lucky box, so to speak, where they would leave with. This had a star printed on it, very much like the Polaris star or the Satanic star. And inside this box, they would have a piece of bread or a bun with normally one piece of meat and a wooden toy, which is where the idea and the basis for the Happy Meal that exists today came from. The only problem with Ronald McDonald and his travelling tent is it was not till after Ronald McDonald had left these towns that they then actually discovered that there were many children that were missing as a result. And it wasn't until then he started travelling town to different towns, and a pattern started to emerge of that every town that he went to, then children would be reported missing not long after he left. The character Ronald McDonald and the way that he looks also ties in with Baal, who is an Egyptian god, who we will cover in a bit, with regards to the worshipping of the ark or arches. So the original McDonald's logo was one single arch. It was never two. That was only kind of incorporated later on when the Kroc brothers took over and introduced Ronald McDonald. So there was only one single arch to begin with. There's many arches darted around America which resemble the same kind of arch. This also goes back to Baal and worship of Baal, which you'll see in a minute. But these arches were kind of known as portals, so to speak, or represent portals. So you can find one in St. Louis in America. There's quite a few that are darted around America as well. One of them you can actually ride, I believe it's an actual ride that goes up 630 feet. So you can actually take a ride on one of the arcs. So here's the god in front of you, which is Baal. Now, Baal is probably the most worshipped god. The reason that I say this is he's presented in symbolism quite a lot in society and with regards to adverts. One in the UK would be the Money Supermarket, where they had a cow, which was the representation of Baal. You also find other adverts and things that refer to Baal. Baal is also incorporated into a lot of English words that are also to do with objects associated with children. And I'll give you two examples. So balloon is one. So you've got B-A-L at the beginning of it, and also ball, as in football, which is B-A-L as well, it starts with. The arches were also doubled and made into an M, because that was also paying homage to the Masons. If you look at the Freemason flag, it's a light blue, and the actual logo of Freemasonry is in gold, which is where the colour gold comes from, the arches. The original colours of McDonald's that were introduced by Richard and Maurice McDonald was red and white. They said that they wanted to keep this kind of colour theme regardless if it changed hands when it went to the Grok brothers. The reason that they wanted red and white also goes back to Freemasonry and to do with the Knights Templar, which is very much similar to the England flag, which is why you have a red cross on a white background, exactly the same as what the Knights Templar wore. It's also probably worth noting as well, the image in front of you of Ronald McDonald with his eyebrows, very, very similar to devil's horns. So shout out to our first person who's in the chat, which is Opa Light. I hope you're enjoying the show. It's nice to have you here. What else we got? Oh, you're from North Yorkshire. So going back to Ronald McDonald, also to do with Ronald McDonald and the M's. So if you take the M of McDonald's and you have two of them, it actually creates a 33. They even use this still to date on the promotion that they're running at the minute, which is McDonald's Monopoly. They also do it with McDonald's Make Your Day, was the slogan that they had. McDonald's Makes Your Day. So you had two M's at the beginning there. So what you'll find is they will run promotions with double M letters, because as you see in front of you, once you turn them on the side, they actually show the number 33. Mud Fossil, it's nice to have you here. Thank you for joining the show. As I said at the beginning of the show, if there's anything that you'd like to add to the show, any sort of comments or knowledge that you know with regards to numerology, astrology, or anything that you've noticed in your own life, or patterns or numbers, then feel free to drop them in the chat section. If you like, towards the end of the show, I will put an invite up. So if you'd like to come up and share any of your experiences or ask any questions or talk about numerology, astrology, or anything that we cover in the live stream, then you're more than welcome to. McDonald's was also founded originally in 1940 by Richard and Maurice McDonald, and that was actually in a snake year. So 2025 is also a snake year. So it'd be very interesting to see if the profit margins for McDonald's are doing very well this year, or there's anything kind of big that's going on for McDonald's that otherwise wouldn't happen any other year. The problem you also have for McDonald's in the UK is the UK is founded under a pig energy. England itself was founded in 927 AD, I believe, which is a pig year. The UK was founded in 1717, and the Grandmaster Lodge of the UK was also founded in 1707, which are all pig years. So also got James Cornez, who's also noticing the number 33 of Freemasonry. Mud Fossil says, it heard clowns represent Nephilian. I'd have to have a look at that, to be honest with you. I can kind of see what you mean with regards to kind of God worship and the association and the link to ancient Egyptian gods. With very much like any of these symbols. Another example for you is Napoleon. The statue of Napoleon that you're told, if you look at the statue of Napoleon, he's got his right hand tucked inside his jacket, which is a classic Freemasonry pose, which is the hand over the heart. It's kind of paying homage to one of the gods. So although he's called Napoleon, or you're told he's called Napoleon, in French he's called Ne Apollon, which in Greek terms would have been Apollo. So he's actually the Greek god Apollo. So a lot of these people they put right in front of your faces, and you wouldn't even know because they tell you there's somebody else. It also goes for the 4 lions as well, which sit in Trafalgar Square, and also linked to the London film production company called Lionsgate. So there's references with regards to Egyptian gods and Freemasonry darted all over the place in in UK and especially London. So going back to Ronald McDonald, sorry. So the Kroc brothers founded McDonald's when they took the brand over on the 15th of April. The 15th would have been 1 and 5 equals 6. Strangely enough, that's the number of home and family. That's why you had 2 brothers involved. Happened in April 1955. If you take that date and you add it all up together, it gives you a life path number of the number 3, which is also the number of the criminal. It's also the number of the communicator. So you'll find people who are born 3s are very good speakers. Chatterbox also begins with C. So yeah, you'll tend to find also number 3 is the number of the criminal, number 4 is the number of law and order. So you'll find that 3s and 4s don't actually get on very well. You'll also find that's the reason why that Donald Trump faced 34 indictment charges in America. So it's just another example of how 3 and 4s do not work together. So the actual M of McDonald's goes back to the book called the Lesser Key Book of King Solomon, which is basically kind of a bit of a branch off and an extension of the Bible and the book of King Solomon. The logo you see in front of you of the golden arches is what they call a sigil. And sigils were created basically through spells or wishes. So these were created by taking a wish or a word and removing the double letters in it. So say you had 2 G's in the word, you'd remove them. And with the letters that remain, you'd then create a symbol with it. A spell is then cast over this symbol, and then it's positioned in places where you want it to be most effective. So it all kind of goes back to wizards and witchcraft. Even dating back to the late 1800s, the royal family were very well known for having their own wizards. It's believed that Donald Trump still even has his own today, which is why he has the slogan MAGA. MAGA is also the word for magician in Spanish. It also converts into other words in different languages, such as magic, black magic, and so on. So these people do understand the power of words, and they do know their proper meaning behind them, even when they tell you they mean something completely different. So, and this will also refer to emojis. So going back to King Solomon is famous for being able to tame the whole of the 72 demons that he discovered. And these 72 demons will kind of relate to other things as we go on. While doing this video and researching some of the stuff, and just to make sure obviously the numbers and figures were all correct, the number that came into my head with regards to 72 and the 72 demons kind of made me think of something else, and it wasn't until I went and looked at that it was actually right, and that's the reason that I'd heard that number before, which I will also show you in this video shortly. So it's all kind of to do with manifestation. M is also stands for manifestation, manipulation. They believe that the Ark was a kind of gateway or portal to the kind of spirit world. As I said, it comes from the Lesser Key of Solomon, which is the book of evil spirits, which is where it kind of breaks down and identifies each individual sigil and what the sigil actually represents and the power behind it. So the word of King Solomon actually comes from 3 different meanings for the sun. So it means the god of the sun with regards to it expanding, it being in a balanced and static state, and then obviously with it ascending and descending. You're going to have to hold your horses for that response, Mud Fossil, and I'll tell you why, because we're going to explore that towards the end of the video, which is why I said I would put a trigger warning in just for those who are McDonald's fans and lovers who might not want to know that information. But yeah, we'll get to that bit. Don't worry. So this kind of breaks down where the word Solomon comes from and what it was named after. You'll find this with a lot of places and religious gods. So another example for you is the country Israel. Now, the word Israel comes from 3 different gods as well. So the first word is Is, which is a short version for Isis, or the light bearer, the fallen star. Ra, which is R-A, that they've used to obviously spell the word Israel, but it's actually spelled R-A-E. So it's the god of Ra. And then you had El, which is for Elion. So, and that's where they took the first 2 letters, E-L. And that's how the word Israel is made up of 3 different gods. What you also find with religions as well is a lot of them all tend to kind of be the same thing. So although they're all different kind of religions and have different kind of morals, the actual people and amount of figures in each religion is kind of very similar and connected. So they all tend to have like one god as such. There's only one religion which doesn't have a prophet, and they're the same people that belong to Freemasonry, because you can't belong to Freemasonry if you believe in a prophet, such as the Prophet Muhammad or Jesus. So god of Baal is represented in Freemasonry by the logo that you see in front of you. The arm position also indicates as above, so below. And stood on a black and white checker floorboard, which represents duality, night and day, and also light and dark. So moving on to the sigils, these are the emojis that you will find. These are the very first emojis that were released on Mac and also Windows computers. I think they were also released on the very first mobile phones. They've kind of been updated and changed slightly. I believe there's even more now, but they derived from the sigils, were basically incorporated into emojis. So when you use these emojis, you think they mean something, when in real terms, they actually mean something else. And it's not just the fact that you're sending the emoji, you're also sending the energy that's attached to that emoji, which is not the energy that you think it is. So in a sec, I'll show you a video also of somebody else speaking with regards to the 72 sigils and how they're discovered and how they match up on your phone. These are the 72 demons that Solomon tamed.
Every single emoji?
Yeah.
Yo, literally, I think the original 72 emojis that they created for the Windows PC, Mac, iOS, everything.
Yeah.
Those emojis, they're secretly demonic sigils.
Oh, really?
So, do you ever hear about the lesser, I think it's called the Lesser Book of Solomon?
No, I haven't.
So there's this book, you know King Solomon in the Bible?
Yeah.
He's the one that was able to tame every single demon.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote a book. And in the book, he wrote these sigils which would control, but also summon certain demons.
What the heck?
And and guess how many there were?
72
exactly. So secretly, every single emoji fam is actually a demonic sigil to summon a demon. Check this out.
Wait, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Let me see.
So every single emoji,
Like even a
look at
laughing emoji?
every single emoji. Look at this.
Whoa.
So you see that? The X is on the eyes. You see this?
Oh, it like recreated, but this is his actual thing.
Now check this out. Boom. Remember the smoke one? Yeah. Yo, it's not even like by accident. Cause this shit could feel like an accident, but look. You're telling me that's an accident?
Oh,
You're telling me this is an accident?
No, that one.
The crying emoji with the tears and it makes the exact sigil? Come on.
No.
Stop playing. That's real. Look at this one. With the teeth? Yo, it's not a game.
Yo.
This shit is real.
So like the original 72, he was
Look at
already
this
drawn
one.
out.
It's all the same, fam. Look, with the eyes, the glasses, with the
goodness.
teeth. Look, you see the two? The teeth.
What the?
Yeah, fam. This is not a game, bro.
Shit, bro.
Yo, red alert.
Yeah.
Like, yo, that has red alert. Why are we allowing this? The zipper? Down to the zipper fucking emoji, bro. That's wild.
Oh my gosh, bro.
So this whole time, us sending emojis may have been summoning demons. That's fucked up.
No, don't put it like that.
So what is it for then?
Time.
So what is it for?
To make the sentence more emotional.
No, but why did they do that?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
So in front of you is a list of the 72 demons that they list. As you can see, the first one is Baal, so to speak. So that's how you know that's their most major prioritized god that they worship. I'm going to bring a comment up that Mud Fossils put, because it's quite an interesting one, which I'll address. He said McDonald is a common Scottish patriotic surname, I'm guessing, meaning son of Donald, a given meaning of world ruler. Okay, well, that might refer also and have a tie to Donald Trump. And the reason that I say that is Donald Trump has a golf course in Scotland. To be part of the Freemasons, you have to be a member of either one of the three lodges, which is the Scottish Lodge, the English Lodge, or the Welsh Lodge. I'll give you an example of someone who was supposed or alleged to have been a member of the Welsh Lodge, and that was Hugh Edwards, the disgraced BBC presenter. And he seemed to get off a little bit lightly, should we say. So that would just give you an indication. It's also a reason why every single kind of plane flight, transatlantic and stuff, has to go through England and London. It doesn't matter kind of what direction that you're going, it will always have to pass through UK. People say it's to do with the reptilians or something given like that, but it's actually to do with the fact that it's to do with the Scottish Rite. So there's a few people on the internet and stuff like that that you might have kind of speculation or suspicion with regards to members of Freemasonry. But if they have ties to Scotland, that's kind of a major indication. So it's just something to look out for. So yeah, that's a good point. Well done. Thanks for bringing that up. It also goes back to an advert that you'll see further on down the video in the live stream here, which is what Donald Trump refers to as the Golden Age, and what symbolizes the Golden Age, as in an object. So like I said, there's 72 demons. When I thought of the number 72, it kind of rung a bell a bit with me. So I went and did a bit of research into number 72 and what I thought it was to do with. And the actual result that came back was correct of what I thought. And this is why I say that all kind of religions all kind of tie in with each other and kind of are all the same, so to speak. So these demons were then whittled down into 7, which are also known as the 7 deadly sins. The number 7 is the number of the genius. That's also why you have 7 days in a week, 7 colours of the rainbow. You have 52 cards in a pack, 5 and 2 equals 7. And obviously 7 deadly sins. So yeah, it was whittled down from 72 down to 7. And that's kind of what we know now as the 7 deadly sins. But the demons are represented by them 7 deadly sins, which is shown in front of you. And then what we'll do is turn our attention to where the number 72 also comes into religion. So in the Muslim religion, or Islam, they have a concept that if they die in battle, they will be met by 72 virgins. So that's why the number 72 kind of rung a bell with me when I heard about the 72 demons. So this also shows you how numbers transpire from one religion to another. It's just strange. You could have picked any number that you wanted to, but number 72 happened to be it. Obviously, if you want to go and learn a bit more about numerology, astrology, The book's available. It's out on Amazon. You can go and grab yourself a copy. Also, the app's available called the Numerology Wizard app, which is available on Google. And I'm going to wrap the show up shortly by finishing off with another video and a closing video, which is to do with KFC and McDonald's. It will also answer your question, Mud Fossil, that you asked earlier on with regards to meat and humans, so to speak. So I'm just going to give you a heads up now, people. So if you are a fan of McDonald's, or you wouldn't like to kind of listen to these details, you're more than welcome to switch off now if you like. It's been awesome to have you here, so thank you. Those who are still here with me, I'm then going to jump into the last video, which will also delve into a little bit of Ronald McDonald, who the man was, of what I've already spoke about. It will also cover an advert to do with McDonald's and how they show you things in plain sight. And then we'll also look at a most recent advert, which was done by KFC, which kind of also shows you in plain sight certain things. Just drop the volume a little bit. We'll get into the video.
Don't they look delicious? And some triple thick McDonald's shakes? Oh. Well, we can always make good use of that. Ah, here they are. Triple thick McDonald's shakes. Why, they're empty. Say, you sure can get a lot in these bags, can't you?
Order in the court. Your Honor, the accused hamburglar was caught red-handed, sneaking off with a big bag full of McDonald's delicious cheeseburgers.
That's serious.
My nephew was in that bag. My nephew was in that bag.
Why? Isn't that McDonald's hamburger delicious?
Mom told me never to talk to strangers.
Well, your mother's right as always, but I'm Ronald McDonald. Give me a McDonald's shake.
Well, you sound like Ronald.
Here, I'll prove it. I'll give you 3 more hamburgers. I know, you're not supposed to accept gifts from strangers either.
But you're no stranger. You really are Ronald McDonald.
He's Ronald McDonald, the hamburger happy clown. A McDonald's drive-in restaurant is his favorite place in town.
Real Ronald McDonald, not the one you remember from commercials. The smell of red paint, the silence of 12 missing children. In 1892, a drifter named Ronald McDonald toured county fairs across the Midwest. Bright red coat, yellow waistcoat, white gloves to the elbows, a painted smile so wide it cut into his cheeks. He called his tent the Happy Meal. Admission was free for children. Inside, the light was dim. The air smelled of sweet bread and varnish. Each child got a small paper box, red, with a yellow emblem brushed on the side. Inside, a soft bun, a slice of cold meat, a hand-carved wooden toy, and a card. Eat up. Come back tomorrow. Parents saw nothing wrong, but children stepped out pale and silent. Some wouldn't eat for days. Some wouldn't speak at all. By summer's end, 12 children had vanished from towns where his tent appeared. When the law searched his wagon, they found it empty, except for a crate of red paint, yellow cloth, and dozens of unused paper boxes. 20 years later, an advertising company in Chicago bought an old fairground poster to inspire a new mascot for a growing restaurant chain. They kept the name, they kept the colors, they kept the smile, and every time you've seen it since, you've been looking at a killer's face.
What in the cannibalism did I just watch? KFC released this commercial, and it's probably the weirdest, maybe the most disturbing commercial I have ever seen. This commercial starts with this dude walking around the woods, and he makes eye contact with this chicken, and this is where things start to get really weird. This girl starts coming in and takes him to this cult-like ritual that's going on, where they gather around, come down from the trees, and they raise him up in the air. After this, everyone just runs away. And then this massive egg comes, and it looks like they're worshiping this golden egg, you know. And then eventually the girl walks this man to the lake, which is actually gravy because the commercial is called All Hail Gravy. He grabs this man, puts him inside the gravy until he can no longer breathe. You can see the bubbles stop, so he's clearly unalived. She pulls him back up, and he's a fried piece of whatever the heck they call it, chicken. I mean, call it truth in plain sight. Call this just a joke. Call it clickbait. This is weird.
So I hope you enjoyed the live stream. With regards to the golden egg that you saw in the video of the KFC advert just now, that was what I was saying with regards to the reference of Donald Trump and the golden age he was kept speaking about when he first became president. So that's what the link is to do with that. So if there's any more questions anybody would like to ask, or any more comments or anything else you'd like to say before I go, and we'll wrap the stream up shortly. I hope you've enjoyed the live stream. You've been an absolute brilliant community being here. So if you're new here, obviously don't forget to smash subscribe, smash the like button too, share the video with your friends and family, spread the word about numerology, astrology, and also spread the word about the channel. If there's any other topics that you'd like me to cover, before in the past, a lot of subscribers have dropped suggestions of videos and stuff they've wanted to have done. One was on Virginia Giuffre, which we covered before. So if you've got any other suggestions, don't forget to leave them in the comment section afterwards underneath the video, and I'll try my very best to cover them for you. And with that being said, I've been Mr. Freemason. You've been absolutely awesome. Until next time, I'm out of here.